Welcome to At Home with George. And this week, we'd like to talk about, once again, how to be with the COVID-19 virus and be able to have some connection, some centeredness to home. And if we think about home as where the heart is, it's a good place to be. This is Holy Week, and tomorrow is Good Friday for Christians, and Easter is Sunday. And there's always this idea of resurrection or death and resurrection, the rising. So I like to see it as a metaphor, as in terms of how can we use this time to actually be reborn, if you will, to actually change with the times, but it being more proactive, more self-directed in terms of how can we be more ourselves? How can we be more loving in this time of separation physically? Can we be connected in the heart space? Can we get beyond the illusion of separateness and just realize that we all are one? And so being Holy Week is just a reminder of the fact. And it's interesting because I was looking at some of the Twitter feeds, and there's a lot of hostility on the Twitter feeds, and there's this idea of making others wrong or being in denial about what's happening. So if you happen to be with a particular party or group of people and you're not able to get your voices heard, there could be a tendency to make the other person wrong and to just highlight one of the past sins or one of the choices that people have made in the past that in hindsight don't look very skillful. And I'm reminded once again, because we're in Holy Week, I'm reminded of what Jesus said when he said, "He who has not sinned, cast the first stone." So we need to be a little bit more compassionate and a little bit more forgiving with ourselves and others, and that would be a good place to start and to realize that love is how we get through this, not hate, not making wrong other people or ourselves. What's my greatest challenge right now? For me, it's a little bit different because I practice social distancing all the time, and I go inside. I'm more contemplative. I call myself a social contemplative. I can be with others, but I also can be with myself. So my challenge now is just getting the rest that I need to get and learning how to say no, because so many people are asking me to do podcasts and to do teachings, and I have my clients that I still work with. And so I think the biggest challenge for me is I don't know. I don't really see it as a challenge. I see it as just me being me and everything being on steroids, because I live with this idea of impermanence, that things are always changing. And I'm striving to be in the moment and manage today. Uh, it's this idea that the suffering's always happening. I've lost loved ones, and I will continue to lose loved ones. I have a big family, a lot of friends, and so stress is there, impermanence is there, and because of impermanence, we suffer. But the good thing about impermanence now is looking at impermanence, that what we're doing now is not going to last. It's going to change. And then, as I'd like to talk about this illusion of separateness or not feeling at one with others. And so for me, the challenge is to watch my own energy, because I want to do so much and I want to help so many people. And I have to remind myself that I have to be selfish before I can be selfless. So I have to take care of me, make sure my energy is right, learning how to say no. That's the challenge for me, to say no when I know so many things need to be done, and that I want to help as many people as I can alleviate or eliminate suffering, or be able to use this time to thrive and not just use it as a time to survive. So that's my biggest challenge, and I don't really see it as a challenge. I see it as just me being with life as it is, and just making peace with it. I just want to talk about what I call right effort, or making the right effort, and especially in this time, of making an effort, and I would call it's an effort that reflects steadiness. So steady, enthusiastic, poised engagement of everything we do. And so when we do something, it just be wholehearted about it. Don't lose heart. Don't don't let doubt and get in the way where we're not productive. Because another way of looking at love is productive. Love, when we love something, we work for it and at it so that what we do grows. And so to me, it's really getting into this habit of persistence, but doing what we need to do. Effort creates energy. And when we get depressed or when we feel sad about our predicament, if we think about helping others or being a service, we can get out of ourselves. And I like to call it, you got to forget yourself to find yourself. And so those are the kind of things that I want people to remember is your effort is going to determine, and we know sustained effort leads to success, no matter what we decide to do. But being able to have that persistence, that steadiness, that enthusiasm, and that poise or that balance, that those three things are really important. And it's about keep flowing forward. Just whatever comes up, can we make space for it and relate to it in a way that empowers us and helps us to get in touch with our humanness, our spirituality. From my point of view, the challenge for me and as well for all of us is how do we hold the hurt and the hope and in balance, keeping them in balance. Because yes, it is dangerous out there. This is a time of crisis, but it's also a time of opportunity. It's also a time to reflect and to get clear about how we can be the best version of ourselves, and how we, like I said, how can we continue to feel connected even though we are not physically in the same space as others. And so prayer and meditation is obviously helpful, as well as just sending people blessings rather than making people wrong, or even being doing a hating thing, or just focusing on what's wrong, or focusing on the past, wanting to get back to the new normal. So the other balance is how do we stay in the moment? How do we stay in today? And at the same time, understand what we do today is going to take us into the future. And that we can't relive the past, but we can make peace with the past in terms of just being okay instead of getting into woulda, coulda, shoulda, or the blame game. Just understanding, okay, given where we are now, what's the best use of our time? What's the best use of our thinking? Are we thinking in terms of not denying the hurt, but also living in the hope and projecting forward that hope, and even holding the idea that the best days are still before us, even though there's going to be days of challenges. How to deal with the weight of maybe exposing ourselves to the virus when we have to go out and get medical supplies or food, or if we have to make a supportive run for the elderly or our parents, and understanding that each time we get into the public, we get into the public domain, that we have to really be clear about how we are being. So that means we can having a mask or some cloth over our face, and having gloves on, and maintaining the physical distance of 6 feet when we can. We can't always do that, but also just acknowledging that it's a high time of anxiety and stress because there's danger there. I would say there's always danger, but now the danger is obvious. It's not some imagined danger or what if. It's in our face, and so once again, just being able to hold both, being able to hold the fact that yeah, this is danger, but at the same time, this is a necessary um, chore that has to be done, because if we don't eat, we're not going to make it, and if we don't have our medicine, we're not going to heal. So that just being able to have some balance between those two. And I always feel like it's important to feel the hurt, not to be identified or lost in the hurt, but at the same time, keeping hope alive and actually looking at things in a way where this is actually a time where we have this, this massive opportunity to be with ourselves. So I have a friend of mine, Wayne, he's from South Africa, and he's been able to meet with Nelson Mandela a couple of times. And the other day we were talking, and he was talking about we're concerned with maybe 27 days or so of being sheltered in place, and this man spent 27 years in prison. So as long as we're here, 27 years in prison, not only did he spend 27 years in prison talking about Nelson Mandela, but he came out as a saint, as a healer, as a leader that actually resulted in bringing the country together, being South Africa. And so it's how we use this time and wondering, how we can be reborn in a way that will lead to the greater good. And so it's how we use this time, is how we think about our activities. And when I think about going out and getting groceries or medicine, that's an act of love, an act of service, and also just to protect myself and protect others, and just to really be mindful of washing my hands, all of the things that we're told to do. And so it's more to be hopeful and to be open and to just embrace what we have to do and just do it with as much compassion and presence that we can. And that's going to help everything, especially when we think about our immune system being intact because we're under stress. We have to be able to relax and just hold it, but not be identified with it, and just relax into it.